All right, Browns fans. Buckle up with me because what's going on in Cleveland right now isn't just another offseason storyline. This is the kind of drama that could completely rewrite the quarterback landscape, not just for the Browns, but honestly for the entire NFL. I'm not throwing around buzzwords just to get clicks. What we're watching unfold in this quarterback room might be one of the most fascinating and unexpected shakeups we've seen in recent memory. And I've been watching this league for a long time, but what's happening right now in Berea? It's wild. It's raw. And it's completely unfiltered chaos in the best possible way. Let me walk you through it. So I'm watching the Pat McAfee show, right? It's like I do pretty much every week. And out comes Peter Schrager, one of the most respected, connected, no-nonsense voices in the NFL media. This isn't some guy trying to make waves when Schrager talks. People listen. And in the middle of this casual segment, he drops what I can only describe as an absolute bomb about the Browns quarterback situation. I froze. I rewound it. I listened again. Did he really just say that? Because if what Schrager is suggesting turns out to be true, we could be looking at a total upheaval of the depth chart in Cleveland. A potential roster flip that could send ripple effects across the AFC. Let's rewind for a second. Put this all into context. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button. Let's like the video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Last season, the Browns went through an absolutely insane quarterback carousel. Deshaun Watson goes down early with injury, and all hell breaks loose. P.J. Walker steps in and tries to hold the line. Then Dorian Thompson-Robinson gets a shot, and for a while it feels like the season's slipping through our fingers. But then, like something out of a movie, Joe Flacco strolls into the locker room. It's this veteran who's been floating in the NFL shadows for years and completely recalibrates the whole team. The guy hadn't played meaningful football in forever. But he comes in, stabilizes the offense, leads a postseason push, and ends up winning Comeback Player of the Year. That's not just impressive. That's folklore stuff. It's going down in Browns history books. So what do the Browns do? They bring him back this offseason. It totally makes sense. Flacco is experienced. He's calm under pressure. And he gives you a rock-solid backup plan in case things go sideways again. But then, Cleveland drops another surprise move and trades for Kenny Pickett. And that one raised eyebrows. I mean, Pickett's only a couple years removed from being a first-round pick in Pittsburgh. Sure, he didn't exactly set the AFC North on fire, but the dude has real starting experience. That's not someone you bring in just to hold a clipboard. Now, suddenly, you're staring at a quarterback room that includes Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett. All three have started games. All three have led offenses. That's already a crowded, competitive room. But Cleveland wasn't done yet, because here's where things really get interesting. They go out and draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. Yep, Shedeur Sanders. The son of Deion Primetime Sanders, the guy who lit up college football last year and turned Colorado into must-see TV. Everyone expected this kid to go on. Day 1 or day 2 of the draft, but somehow he slips all the way to round 5. And when he did, Cleveland pounced. Now let me just pause right there. The Browns were not supposed to be drafting a quarterback. That was never part of the plan. GM Andrew Berry even said as much publicly. But when Sheddeur fell that far, they couldn't pass him up. Because no matter what the media was saying about his maturity or his interviews or the Deion effect, the talent was undeniable. And now, here we are, with 4 quarterbacks. In the room, for very different styles, for different stories. And every single one of them has something to prove. Shedeur Sanders. Despite the hype and the fan excitement, hasn't taken a single rep with the first-team offense yet, according to reports from Ashley Bastock. He's been strictly working. With the second unit getting his feet under him, learning the system, and tightening up his mechanics. But let me tell you, everything coming out of minicamp right now says this kid is making noise. Coaches are praising his poise. Teammates are talking about his command in the huddle. And the numbers don't lie. Over 5 open sessions, he's thrown 41 completions on 51 attempts with 9 touchdowns and only 1 interception. That's a 77% completion rate, folks. That's not just promising rookie territory. It's elite execution. So now the question is, what do the Browns do? You've got Watson, who's supposed to be the franchise guy. You've got Flacco, who just saved your season. You've got Pickett, who was a former first-round pick. And now you've got this electric, young, hungry rookie putting on a clinic in camp. Do you ride the experience? Do you give Shedder a real shot to start week 1? Or do you stash him on the bench and slow roll his development? Coach Stefanski has been playing it safe with his comments. He keeps saying everyone's getting a fair shot. But let's be honest. This is the NFL. Teams don't have time for development years anymore. You win now, or you get left behind. And the craziest part? Schrager straight up said he doesn't think both Pickett and Flacco will be on the roster when week 1 rolls around. Let that sink in. Either a former Super Bowl MVP or a first-round pick is about to get squeezed out by a 5th-round rookie. That's how real the buzz is around Shedder right now. And yeah, I know helmets and shorts, no pads, it's just OTAs. But when Kevin Stefanski, a guy who rarely throws out compliments, starts giving props to a rookie QB, that means something. That's not just smoke. Even a Jayhawk mentioned the possibility of Cleveland keeping 4 quarterbacks going into the season. That almost never happens. Most teams barely carry 3, but Schrager shot that down. He said if anything, it's gonna be Watson, Shedder, and Gabriel with 1 vet hitting the exit. And if I had to guess right now, it might be Kenny Pickett. Now, let's talk real quick about why Shedder dropped in the draft, because this matters. It wasn't his arm talent. Everyone knows he can sling it. The concerns were all off the field. Some teams didn't like the idea of dealing with Dion. They didn't want the cameras, the media circus, the spotlight. Others didn't like how Shedder came off in interviews. Some reports said he coasted, didn't seem fully engaged. But I get it. Maybe he didn't want to end up buried on a depth chart behind a washed-up vet in a system that wouldn't develop him. Cleveland didn't care. They saw something. They bet on the upside. And now, everyone inside that building from the front office to the locker room is saying the same thing. This kid might be the real deal. Not just the name, not just the story, but the full package. The talent, the leadership, the fire. Yeah, he's had some hiccups. The speeding tickets? Not. A great look. But as former Browns coach Eric Mangini said, this is his first time out from under his dad's shadow. He's learning. He's growing. And honestly, if the Browns were willing to ride out the storm that came with their current QB1, they can. Handle a few growing pains from a 22-year-old kid with sky-high upside. So what did the Browns do this offseason? They bring Flacco back. Of course they do. It's the smart move. You get veteran stability, a mentor in the room, a guy who's been there. But then they shock everyone and go out and trade for Kenny Pickett, former first-rounder from Pittsburgh. Still young, still raw, still full of potential. He had a rocky ride with the Steelers, but the talent's there. And now suddenly, Cleveland's quarterback room is looking loaded at this point. You've got Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett, 3 guys with real NFL starting experience. You're thinking, all right, that's got to be enough. Right? Wrong. Because then comes the draft. And this is where things go from interesting to absolutely insane. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. First, they grabbed Dillon Gabriel. True. Wild card. A guy with a strong arm, some big play juice, and enough mobility to make you curious. You think, okay, that's a nice developmental pick. But then, the moment I still can't believe happened, they take Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. Yeah, you heard me. Primetime's son. The kid who lit up college football last season and basically turned Colorado into a reality show overnight. The guy who was supposed to go in day 2, easy. Somehow, he's sitting there in the 5th round in Cleveland. They pounce. No hesitation. No overthinking. Just instinct. Now I remember watching it happen and thinking this could either be a stroke of genius or an absolute mess. Because Shedder isn't just any prospect. He brings headlines, expectations, the spotlight. Let's be real. The baggage, Not because of anything he did wrong, but because of who his dad is. Because of the spotlight that follows the Sanders name. Because of how the media eats it up. And now here's where it gets wild. Peter Schrager is saying that Sheddeur Sanders is already turning heads in Cleveland. It's not just quietly impressing in drills. It's not just holding his own. We're talking shaking the entire depth chart. He said he'd be surprised.
Ow!
Surprised if both Flacco and Pickett are still on the roster by week 1? And I sat there like, what? One of those guys just won comeback player of the year? The other is a former first-rounder who the team just traded for. We're seriously talking about the possibility that either one could be gone before the season starts. All because of a rookie 5th-round pick? That's insane. But also, kind of makes sense. I know people are going to say it's just OTAs, that it's early, that we shouldn't read too much into it. But you know what? Kevin Stefanski, who is not a guy known for hyperbole, has already gone on record praising Shedder's upside. And when a guy like Stefanski breaks character to hype up a rookie, that's a big deal. Even a Jay Hawk was floating the idea of keeping 4 quarterbacks. That's how serious this is. But Schrager shut that down quick, said the Browns are most likely going to keep 1 veteran plus Gabriel and Sanders. It means someone's getting cut or traded. If I'm putting money on it, if I think Pickett's the odd man out. So why did Sheddeur slide in the draft? Honestly, it wasn't just about his game. Reports said teams didn't love his combine interviews. Some thought he was aloof. Others said he was trying to control the draft process. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Teams were worried about the prime-time effect. About Deion's larger-than-life presence overshadowing a franchise. But Cleveland didn't care. GM Andrew Berry said it himself. They weren't even planning on drafting a quarterback. But when Sheddeur was still there in round 5, they trusted their instincts. They made the move. And now, it's looking like a possible franchise-defining decision. Because everyone inside, the building is talking, coaches, teammates, executives. They all see it. They're saying Sheddeur's got that it factor. He's got the arm, the poise, the decision-making, the leadership. He's not just here to develop. He might be here to compete. And look, yeah, the speeding tickets happened. But the guy owned it. He went public, took accountability. I said, yeah, I messed up. That's maturity. That's growth. It's a young quarterback showing leadership before he's even taken a snap. Eric Mangine said it perfectly. This is a kid trying to step out from under the shadow of his Hall of Fame father and do it his way. And if the Browns could survive the firestorm of the Deshaun Watson trade, they can handle a couple traffic tickets from a rookie QB trying to find his way. So, zoom out with me for a second. You've got Flacco, the aging gunslinger, who just proved he's still got it. You've got Pickett, a redemption story waiting to happen. You've got Gabriel, the wild card, the dark horse. And then you've got Sheddeur Sanders, the lightning rod, the media magnet, the kid who might just be the future of this franchise. And if Schrager's right, Cleveland keeps Sanders and maybe even Dorian Thompson-Robinson and lets go of a proven veteran. That's not just a depth chart decision. That's a philosophical shift. That's the Browns saying they care more about vision, upside, and leadership than they do about contracts or draft position. It means they're thinking like investors. They're playing the long game. And if another team loses a quarterback, in camp or preseason, guess who holds the leverage now? Cleveland. So here's what I'll be watching over the next few weeks. Can Sheddeur handle the speed of NFL training camp? Can he process defenses, make the right reads, and carry that locker room energy into real reps? Will Flacco or Pickett generate trade value? Can Sanders stay grounded under all that pressure? This isn't just about who starts week 1. This could change the way teams across the NFL evaluate quarterbacks forever. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Are the Browns completely off the rails for even thinking about moving on from Flacco or Pickett? Or are they actually ahead of the curve, seeing something in Sheddeur that the rest of the league totally missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you want more deep dive NFL breakdowns like this one, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Because this Browns quarterback story, it's not just wild, it's historic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.